Thanks, Susan. Well, something Joanne said about how relentless Bob was when he got onto something, and he wouldn't stop till he made it happen, reminded me about right after the trees happened. Bob got onto this thing. He organized people from all the different neighborhoods around the False Creek Flats to stop the garbage plant. We called it the garbage plant that the city was planning on putting in there. This is about 1986, 87. And it was supposed to be a garbage sorting plant. And because Bob organized that, the city eventually broke down under the pressure and brought in blue box recycling north of 16th, and including multiple unit buildings. That wasn't part of their plan at the beginning, and it's only because of Bob that we got that. And of course now Vancouver has a pretty good recycling program. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it would have been. And the other thing Bob did was organize the resistance to I guess 87 or 88, I can't remember exactly when it was. Gordon Campbell was the mayor. The city traffic engineers planned, they made another go at building a freeway connector to funnel traffic off the Highway 1 into the downtown along the Grandview Cut and into across the railway flats. And Bob, again, organized a whole bunch of people to resist that, and the city finally relented. In fact, Gordon Campbell realized that traffic was a winning issue, and so he basically told the traffic engineers to back off on that. Anyway, so Bob really had major effects on urban development just because he was so relentless and tenacious. And as many of you know, Bob wrote 3 plays, musical plays. Actually, I guess did he start before he came to Hornby, or was it all up here? He did it all up here. So Bob basically retired to Hornby Island to actually do more work, and only in a completely different field. And so his comrade in that venture, the director and producer of those musical ventures, is here to talk about that. Jay Hamburger, where are you? Oh, way back there. Okay, Jay's going to make an entrance.
Hi. Well, where do you start with this guy? First, I want to thank the remarkable mugs. Unbelievable. Unbelievable also when you're working as close as I ended up working with Bob. I mean, really it becomes a brotherhood, a sisterhood, a whathood when you're starting from scratch. Not only one musical, but with this guy, Bobo, as eventually there became a nickname, Bobo, for him. There's a second musical, and then there's a third musical. So it is a remarkable thing. Usually you're just satisfied with one, unless you're Shakespeare or something. But with Bob, once he got a hankering or hooked onto something and it kind of worked, then he would keep going. But the funny thing about Bob, and I don't know if any of you knew this, Muggs knew it, is that this guy is going to say to me, I think I'm going to write a musical about Bruce Erickson, who is a hero and was just a remarkable person to write about. He's going to write a musical, but he can't hold a tune. And I'm not making this up. I would get together with Earl Peach and Bob, or Bill Sample and Bob, and we would come up with Bob's lyrics and put them to tunes that Bob would sit and play old 50s and 60s bebop or rock and roll music and take the tune and the words and then try to incorporate them within his own musical pieces, alongside a composer sitting there watching Bob trying to carry a tune. So it became quite an ordeal after a while. But as we did these 3 musicals over 8 years, it was obvious that Muggs was of supreme importance. And Doug was just amazing. And of course, the Frankie, always referred to as the grandson, which I think Bob was almost, in some ways, it was a miracle that there was a Frankie. It was just absolutely something just so supreme and very warming. And also Hornby, always this trip back and forth to work with us in Vancouver. Bob and I met through Carnegie. I was teaching a crazy drama class once a week on a Thursday that Rika and Dan Tatro and the rest of the gang would put up with. God knows what they thought was going on in that room. But Bob walked in one day and sort of saw what was going on here. And he took to it. He really took to it. And we were, at that point, getting a play together that would incorporate all the different participants that kept coming once a week. So some participants were on booze, some were on drugs, some were changing their sex. So we had various different characters in the room. And Bob came up to me and said, I'll write a piece. I'll write a piece for this play that we put on at Carnegie. And unfortunately, it was only one performance. My partner, Addie Gell, keeps telling me we should always bring this play back because it was damn good. It was called Rooms for Rent. And it was about the downtown east side. It was various different people living in a rooming house and what they were going through. Very short scenes. It was first, I think, called Short Reports or something like that, but then eventually we changed it to Rooms for Rent. And Bob wrote a piece for it. Well, he was hooked. He was really hooked. To the point where he approached me about Bruce the Musical, which he absolutely, and you've already heard, once he got set on something, and he was set on Bruce, and bringing out this remarkable person that had done so much in Vancouver, and had served on council, and had come up really the hard way to do it. He was absolutely set on getting a musical profile of Bruce the Musical. And the next was, he said, well, we've done pretty well with Bruce. How about Yippies? And so I'm, okay. We'll do Yippies. Yippies in Love. And Yippies in Love was probably, of the 3, was the most difficult because it blew up. But with Bob, a blow up was peanuts. It was absolute peanuts. There was so much trouble with it, and so many things happened that we had to curtail it. But I was getting phone calls once a week from Bob saying, we're still on it, aren't we? I'd say, yeah. Well, I'm raising the money. I've got friends on Hornby. I've got friends in New York. My sister. And we're going to do it, right? Yeah, okay. So what really happened with Yippies in Love is that we had to rewrite the whole thing. I kept saying to him, this is not, it's based on one woman in this play, and you need to broaden this. And that took a while to get him to change his mind, but he did it. He did it after he saw that it didn't really work at first. So then we did it, and we did it at the Culch, because where we were originally going to do it, that blew up on us. So we made a dash for the Culch. And I just have to tell you that whenever Bob and I would do these shows, Bob would say to me, "So we're going to sell tickets, right?" And I would know what was coming. "Yeah, we're going to sell tickets. Bob, how many are you going to give away?" Well, half the audience was the giveaway. So, and of course, I was absolutely on 110% with him. But it would be like tickets going out everywhere, all over the place, the downtown east side, all over the city of Vancouver. God knows where he sent them. Hornby, Denman. He may have even sent some to New York City, as far as I know. But we did it. We figured it out somehow, except with the Culch. It was very difficult because at the Culch, she came up to me at the end and I said, "We've given away tickets, I know. We need to get paid at the end." And she said, "Yeah, you've given away so many tickets that we've had to charge you over the amount that you were allotted." And of course, I had to tell Bob this, and Bob said, "Don't worry about it. Just let it go, will you?" But this is, as a producer, which I had to be over this guy, this was always, it was always a story. But because he was a guy with words, he was a remarkable person, and I thank Kim Bolin for. Bob, when he came into town, he stayed at a couple places. One was remarkable Kim Bolin's house, which eventually she stole him away from us. He stayed sometime at our house, and he stayed with Jeff in the old place down in Strathcona. But when he had that first terrible stroke, it was a great honor in a way, if you could figure, to go down. And there he was in the room where he had the stroke, and to visit him. And then with Doug and a few others at the hospital. But it was a real wake-up call, because, as you've heard, here was somebody so active, so principled, and yet here he was. When we would visit once a year, we'll always visit him with mugs, sitting up, in a chair, and just the eyes sparkling. So he was unstoppable. But the third play was the Raymer Mothers, which in some ways, because it was really about women, in a beautiful way, and it had Carol Jerome so much in it, I think maybe that was the one he might have loved the most, because it was about women in Strathcona who were oppressed in a way, who just said, "The hell with what's going on with the railroad. We're going to sit on tracks, and we're going to stop these trains until the powers that be wake up." And I think that was probably a lot of his modus operandi, the powers that be to wake up. The problem was that literally, as we were putting this together, the first rehearsal, he had his stroke. So by some miracle, we got him in to see the very first show. And I think he liked it. But I need to, because he was a person of words, there were 11 words that Bob saw on the Bruce Erickson building on Main Street. Because he was a reporter and with a good eye, he had this in the back of his mind, and the words on the building, which is fantastic, are my voice. There are 11 words. My voice, I share, commit, vision, dream, elect, dignity, courage, home, hope, respect. So at the end of Bruce the Musical, these 11 words and the very last part of the play are sung. And so this is my notes to Bob and the memorial here. And as we go along, I'll just incorporate those words that were so meaningful to Bob within the end of this. Bob lived by many means, and one that was primo was words. Words used as a reporter, as an activist, and as a musical scriptwriter and storyteller. There was devotion in his heart, real devotion, to Muggs, to Diane, Doug, and Frankie, and on. To Carnegie, and the many that came and went through the center's front doors at Hastings in Maine. There was his devotion to the activist movement as a worker and a voice for the exploited, a voice for the environment, a voice to have fun within the loaded seriousness that a world can impose on so many not liking what can come down from the powers that be. And Bobo, the nickname that emerged and used for a time between us when we would meet at a luncheonette on the drive from the East Hastings Chinese, and we would go over notes to the 3 musical plays we were working on, trying to improve his scripts to be presented as a creative event or entertainment. We could talk, we could exchange, we could work together. It wasn't all easy, no. Like any relationship, it had its bumps, its highs, lows, and true joys. For there were hurdles to contend with, logistical, technical traps of all sorts in our midst. Besides, we were trying to do something original, outspoken, with a spark of craziness to it that needed funds, patience, and trust to try and give a musical story a best run for it. And I thank Judith Lawrence at times for just coming to with such remarkable funds that I think did give the shot that said, we're going to do this show. Just remarkable generosity. With crazy greeting between us, out of an all made-up movement of hey, yo, yo, bro, a Bobo, intent and driven for sure to get his musical story of an event that could help change a bit of the world we all live in and have taken for granted. To Queens, New York, to 100 Mile House, to Vancouver, and to Hornby Island and loved ones. Everywhere there were friends and supported, and movement allies. Would hear or follow along through song, theatrics, certain meaningful, heartfelt words that Bob then wrote as lyrics in his song to Bruce the Musical, using the 11 words inscribed. On the front of the Bruce Erickson building on Main Street, their meaning to the community. And Bob gave voice to many of us through his musicals and reporting. He could share it and gave the thoughts, feelings, and stories to others willing to listen. He did commit to a movement of free speech, a green environment, helping those in need. He had a vision with the shows he did. There was to be song and dance with purpose. It was a dream he dreamed. And yes, it came true by the stars, by the tunes he could barely carry. By those we met and associated with and would elect to be a part of and a musical story. And I believe he could hold his head high with dignity, for he had made a real contribution. If we bucked up our courage with wit and a few coins and gave the stories a go. And then to home, here, on Hornby with Muggs and close friends, Judith, Patty, and more. And even through the theater's Straits of Magellan, it was his driving hope that carried the day, that we would produce a creative piece of work that could draw respect and recognition. To those in the musical story struggling for justice, equality, and a better way of life, the Bob on top of it all could bring one heck of an audience to see an original work. There's never been anything like it. I mean, you got to realize this guy, if he had a show in New York, he would have had half the population in to see the show. From his pen and from his mind, in the form of song, dance, words, laughter, about matters crucial, inspiring, and of historical value, lest we forget. The reporter's dearly missed, was much loved in the spirit, on the planet, and Vancouver. Bob, rest in peace. Raise hell, awareness in wherever you are, above and beyond. You were and are the best. And we carry you within us every complex day on this old earth. We've been lucky to know you, hard to replace with your abounding energy on the go. Thank you.